on the other
radar
hand, I like
guns,
having,
use radar
Mhm.
guns, you know, to monitor the speed rather than just your eyeballs.
Chief, you know what it would cost us to even install one,
I
or even
don't.
on the top of your head?
I haven't looked into it.
So,
I briefly have read articles, well, I mean, you know, they'll tell you the system will pay for itself and it's, but I haven't looked into the costs on it.
The usual situation is that a company installs the cameras at no cost to the city and gets 50% of the, or so, sometimes it's 40%, sometimes a little more, of the revenue generated.
The court adjudicated revenue.
However.
The problem with that,
Our
of course,
system
is that they then have an incentive to write to send out lots of, under Oregon law, I think that the pictures actually have to be reviewed by a sworn officer before you can send out the citation.
I think that's true.
There have been some problems in Oregon that people who came to a full stop inside the crosswalk were being ticketed for running a red light, which wasn't true. In fact, there was an attorney who won a roughly $300,000 case against the city of Portland on that issue.
Hmm.
So,
If you install one, is it movable easily? Because if not, people are going to adjust to this very quickly.
Oh, you'd be amazed.
I mean, once caught, twice cautious.
I haven't really looked into these, but I do recall seeing advertisements where they have like a van, I think, and they
For
come
the,
out in a
for the
van.
photo speed, yeah.
Yeah, and so that would be something you could move around.
Beaverton has one.
Huh.
how do you know?
Portland, they're required to put warning flags out ahead of them. So a quarter mile before you get to the van says photo radar in use ahead. Go figure.
Boy, Marilyn would be all over us, wouldn't she?
I still got,
She would be in your,
Zing.
G Street would have more traffic.
other comments? From my standpoint, I really, Michael, I sympathize where you're coming from on this. For me, I don't want to take any tools out of the police department's hands whatsoever. And for me, Chief, what did Frank write in 1 week? This gets to your question, Rod, a little bit of can we pay for that additional officer if we dedicate one to traffic?
He,
8,800 in 1 week?
yeah, that was in 7 days. Actually, yeah, 6 days.
You know, I have no doubt, and that's the reason that I've couched it the way I did in the budget, at least for the first couple of years. You know, hopefully people do learn, and hopefully they're not as ignorant of officers being out there and being a little bit more productive, if you will, in traffic enforcement. You know, in going through, even back on Election Day last year when I stood there at Washington River Road and E Street, you know, waving signs for people just to vote, period. The number of people in a 3-hour period that blew through true red lights at Washington River Road and E Street, and I had a former law enforcement officer standing right there with me, waving them as well. We were just flat shocked. It was unbelievable. And frankly, I don't care if we make a lot of revenue on it, because the people that aren't gonna like it are the people that get caught. Nobody likes to get caught when it comes down to those. So the distrust and the things that I see in there, you know, it doesn't impede people from moving freely about the city. We're just asking them to move freely about the city safely and according to the traffic laws. I think there are an awful lot of those units, and again, there's probably every type of device under the sun out there, and whether we own it, whether somebody else owns it, you know, what the relationship is. I'm sure all of them are just like our photo speed trailer that we've got that can be adjusted. You know, it starts blinking in flashes at 40 or 45 or 50. Well, it gives you a ticket at 10 over or 15 over or 16 over or 22 over or whatever we set it for. So there are ways that I'm pretty sure that we can still be in control of it. But again, when underlying, from my standpoint, when it comes down to taking tools out of the police department's hands that are there primarily for helping to slow speeds and get people to actually adhere to the traffic laws, I would just assume the resolution not go in place, and like Chief says, he's never costed out, I've never asked him to, it's not even on our radar, no pun intended, for looking at those types of devices, so. Can we get the wording adjustments to Don or whoever's got this document for Monday for the agenda?
I'll go ahead and
Agenda.
get it for you.
Okay. Other council items, Molly?
Nothing, no.
Dave? Jennifer? Oh, you do have one. I'm sorry, I meant to come to you first.
Quite a bit, actually. I just wanted to start with a couple of my liaison commitments. The CW Chamber has kicked back into gear. They had a September luncheon. It was very well attended. I also attended the luncheon as well as the annual board planning retreat on September 29th, and there's some takeaways from that particular meeting. They're visiting their mission statement, and they're asking community members to help with two simple questions. What are the most important characteristics of the community that we live in? And looking forward, what is missing in Camas, Washougal, and East Clark County that you would like to see in the next 5 to 10 years? And they're asking if people can let them know their thoughts on these two questions during the month of October. Increasing membership is the #1 goal for 2010 and 2011. Membership is down quite a bit. Staff are experiencing reduced working hours and unpaid furloughs at this time. There are some other top objectives of the new year: creating partnerships with existing events in the community, economic development, and creation of a government affairs committee, which is brand new for our chamber. They're trying to produce a strong voice for East Clark County with regard to legislative issues, just FYI. They're focusing on 4 committees this year. Membership, they're also seeking a new chairperson for the membership committee, by the way. Program committee, economic development and education committee, and the new government affairs committee. And they're going to be organizing these committees within the next couple of months, so business owners and chamber members, please step up if you can, volunteer for any of these committees. Reminded of the Hearth Business After Hours event coming up this week. That's Thursday evening from 4 to 6, so please go support our new restaurant in downtown. Moving on to the school district, Teresa Baldwin sent me just a few little blurbs, and I'll just go ahead and read what she sent me as far as keeping you up to date. Washougal School District saved $15,000 in energy cost saving measures in the months of July and August, and $15,800 by reducing the district-wide garbage collection schedule in the summer months. Teresa is presenting a plan to the Board of Directors at their board meeting tomorrow evening for a communications committee that will broadly represent parents and community members. The plan calls for someone to join the committee who works for the city of Washougal and would represent the city's perspectives. The committee will meet 5 times between January and May of 2011. More details are coming out in a newsletter from the district next week. Teresa is also working as a part-time superintendent for